Big question on everyone's lips right now is how do we rank in the LLMs? We're going to attack it by looking at a simple decision that every content creator has to make. Should I create long form content or short form content? What's better for the LLMs? What do they like more? In other words, is it better to write something really short that a human would actually read or something super long that has a lot of stuff in it that an LLM could pull everything out of? Or do the LLMs actually want short content right now? What's the answer? Every single question like this you can answer in the same way just by asking yourself, does it create value for the reader? There was some research back in 1997 that showed almost 80% of people don't read an entire article. They skim it. And that research was repeated again in 2015, and it was repeated again in 2022, and it was repeated again in 2025. And it's the same answer every single time. In fact, it's getting more and more pronounced. Actual living human beings would rather skim an article than read the whole thing on the web, on their phone, on their laptop, on their tablet, however they're consuming the content. And because of that, if you want to create content for human beings, you need to create structured content that shows keywords in the H1s and the H2s, that has visual elements. It's got images with keywords in them. It's got information in them that's valuable to the reader. You want those H2s, H3s, bullet lists, and tables and so on that actually provide value so that the skimmer, the person who doesn't want to sit and read an entire article for 7.5 minutes, but just wants to pull what they want out of it, can actually skim through it. So Google just came out and said, guess what, everyone? AEO and GEO, that's still just SEO, right? And that's important because if you've been creating content for humans for years, Google likes it. Why does Google like it? Is it because it's an algorithm? No, it likes it because it's the biggest voting booth in history. It takes billions of searches per day and it figures out what the searchers like the most. So it serves up content that most understands and delivers what human beings want. The LLMs are playing the exact same game. They're trying to figure out what content is going to resonate best, what answers are going to resonate best with human beings. And they're trying to find that content and quote that content. They're using signals like, does it rank well in Google? They're using that as a signpost. They're also looking through Reddit and other social media, Quora and social media like that, to find out how to answer people. So the answer to how do I show up in the LLMs, it's exactly the same answer as how do I show up in Google, which is exactly the same answer to should I write short articles or long articles? The answer to all those is you first have to work very hard to understand who your reader is, who your perfect audience is. Why do they want to know what they want to know? What's the best answer to what they want to know? Delivered in the most succinct, easy to understand way possible. If you were doing that all along, you were already ranking in Google for the past 15 years. And it didn't matter every time Google came out with an update, whether you're not going to get demoted from an update because you're already creating content that human beings like, and that's what Google is trying to get you to do. If you're still doing that today, you're getting mentioned in the LLMs today. Any other answer than this is sort of like saying, well, I know how to drive from Chicago to Texas back when I had a 1998 Nissan Sentra, but how do I do it today when I'm driving a 2026 Genesis electrified G80? The answer is still the same. You still use the same roads, you make the same turns. The vehicle you're using to get from A to B is not the answer to the question. The answer to the question is, how do you provide the most value to the person you're most interested in providing value to? If you set that as your North Star, you will rank in Google just like you always have, and you'll rank in the LLMs just like you always have. And you'll avoid being a human content farm, which doesn't work, or an AI content farm, which also doesn't work. So, should you write long content or short? Wrong question. The right question is, what does your reader actually need? And what is the most useful way to deliver it? If you answer that, the LLMs will find you. Don't worry about the car you're driving. Worry about whether you know how to get from A to B. If your content already works for humans, it already works for LLMs. If it doesn't, there is no optimization trick you can use that will save it. Just start with the reader and everything else falls in line. What's the worst LLM optimization advice you've seen lately? Drop it in the comments and let's compare notes.